What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And first off, guys, before anything, I want to apologize for being absent for so long. I've been very busy, was traveling most of this week, getting ready to travel. As you can tell, I'm filming this from a new location, but I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things here. But I felt it was a perfect opportunity to do so by talking about the great news that the Kansas City Chiefs just got ahead of NFL free agency. And I grabbed this screenshot from My Sports Update on Twitter, but Ari Myarov reports that the NFL informed teams today, this was yesterday, but that the 2025 salary cap will be roughly $277.5 million to $281.5 million. And that is an increase of 22 to $26 million from last year, and actually beats what most executives were anticipating. And this is really good news, guys, because we have heard so long that the cap was going to explode because of the newer TV deals that the NFL was able to nab a few years ago. COVID kind of slowed things down in that regard, but we've seen over the past few years that the cap is really starting to spike up, which means that the Kansas City Chiefs have a little bit more room to play with this upcoming free agency, and is going to give them a chance to improve this roster. And we know, guys, that there is a lot on the to-do list for the Kansas City Chiefs this offseason. So it's a good thing that the cap space is going up, especially because the Kansas City Chiefs are a team that uses every little bit of the cap space that it has. And as you continue to contend for titles, that is going to be the case. But I wanted to use this bit of news to kind of talk about some things free agency related in regards to the Kansas City Chiefs. So yes, it's a good thing that the cap is going up, but what this also means is that the Kansas City Chiefs should be aggressive. They should be aggressive this free agency. And I was actually listening to my guy Matt Verderam over on the Arrowhead Addict Arrowhead Addict podcast over where I write, and he was talking about how the Chiefs really should be aggressive in trying to add explosiveness to this offense. We know that the Kansas City Chiefs have kind of gotten by the past couple years on offense. They've essentially neutered Patrick Mahomes in this offense. It's become a dink and dunk offense. Mahomes really has not had the deep ball for 2+ years now. He had a career low this year in average depth of target. He was not really throwing the ball downfield all that much. And this offense struggled to crack 30 points over the past couple of years. And it's something that I think it's time to go back to what it was before. An offense with Patrick Mahomes should not look this miserable most of the time, especially in the Super Bowl. And if you guys look at the 5 Super Bowls that they've been in this era of Chiefs football, they've really been putrid offensively, at least in the first half, in every single one of them. And of course, that matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles, the Eagles took advantage early. They put points up on the board. There was no coming back for the Kansas City Chiefs. They demoralized them from beginning to end, imposed their physical will on the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs tried to do their finesse game with quick passing and, having Joe Thuney at left tackle, who's really a left guard, and Mike Caliendo. It's not going to get the job done. The Chiefs, were able to get by. They won some playoff games with that being the case. But when you go up against a truly great team like the Philadelphia Eagles, you need to be able to match them a little bit more closely talent-wise. And I just feel like Kansas City Chiefs, talent-wise, have not been there on the offensive side of the ball the past few years. We've all tried to talk around it, but we saw, kind of the downside of that in the Super Bowl. And so I think it's time that the Chiefs add more explosiveness to this offense. But I was talking about my guy, Matt Verderam from Arrowhead Addict and Sports Illustrated a couple minutes ago. But he said, if I were the Kansas City Chiefs, not only would I try to go and get a left tackle, because I think we can all agree that's the biggest need this offseason for the Kansas City Chiefs is to get an actual franchise left tackle. We'll see if that's through the draft or free agency. I think we'll find out pretty quickly what the plan is. But the Chiefs should also go and get like a big name wide receiver to go with Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. And we know that DeAndre Hopkins isn't going to be back necessarily Hollywood Brown is a free agent as well. Juju Smith-Schuster is a free agent. He made some big plays for you this postseason. So it's not like wide receiver isn't a need, but I know a lot of people hear that and they say, no, we need to be spending our cap space on left tackle. And while like I'm sure that they will allocate resources to the offensive line, guys, there's still other needs on this team. And wide receiver is one of them. And not only could the Kansas City Chiefs go the draft route, but they could also say, you know what, F it. We're going to go big on receiver again. We're going to surround Patrick Mahomes with weapons. Remember, guys, Brett Veach said the day he took over the job that he was never going to have a shortage of weapons with Patrick Mahomes. The past couple of years, Brett Veach has kind of veered away from that, whether intentional or not. He obviously made an effort this year getting DeAndre Hopkins at the deadline, drafting Xavier Worthy. But the year before that, I mean, they went into the season saying Kadarius Toney was their wide receiver one. And that was just a joke of a plan. A lot of us thought they needed to add another veteran receiver. They didn't. Again, we're able to get by, won the Super Bowl. Rashee Rice came on late, but that's not exactly a sustainable plan at the wide receiver position. So I'm not necessarily saying this is going to happen, but I would love to see the Chiefs throw money at a T. Higgins or a Chris Godwin, a free agent wide receiver this offseason. And it doesn't necessarily have to be either of those guys, but why not, make your Sammy Watkins move of this window of Chiefs football where you just get that third guy in the offense that is just going to make things so much easier. He's going to open things up, especially while Rashee Rice, is coming off of injury and Xavier Worthy is still progressing. He's only going to be in his second year, but also we've seen how much stress has been put on Travis Kelce in this offense the past couple of years. And I still don't really feel like the Chiefs have added enough at the pass catcher position or the pass catcher, arsenal to really allow Travis Kelce to get a breather during the regular season so that he's ready for the postseason and still playing at a high level. Travis Kelce was great in the divisional round against the Houston Texans, but in the Super Bowl and in the AFC Championship kind of disappeared. And it's because he's just not that guy anymore that he was a couple years ago, but he can still contribute. But you're going to get the most out of him only if you're adding guys that can help this offense, can carry a lot of the load during the regular season. I just don't feel like the Chiefs have had that on offense the past couple of years. Like Hollywood Brown was a really good savvy contract. And I like the signing, but he didn't play. But it was a guy that had, injury concerns coming in. And I just think, why not make a splash for once at wide receiver? You brought in D-Hop. I think he's done personally. Like he didn't do anything the postseason. He had 40 yards receiving in the final 2 months of the season. Like it just wasn't a guy that was helping you. Go and make a splash at wide receiver. Surround Patrick Mahomes with weapons. We have neutered Patrick Mahomes over the past couple years. This has turned into a West Coast conservative, quick passing offense, no deep ball, also no explosive run game. We know the Chiefs also need a running back, but I would expect them to look in the draft for a running back. So, yes, the Chiefs need a left tackle. That's the biggest need, but they also need to add more explosiveness in this offense, whether that be a wide receiver, a running back, maybe another tight end, a receiving tight end. The Chiefs need to spend money there. And the cap going up is obviously a good sign towards free agency and would allow the Chiefs to do that because a lot of people are going to say, the Chiefs don't have cap space for that. Yes, they do. As of right now at this moment, yeah, they might not have cap space, but they can make some moves to open it up. Patrick Mahomes can restructure his contract. You can restructure Travis Kelce. You can extend Joe Thuney. There's ways to open up money, but also this offseason I think is going to be an important one for Clark Hunt, the owner, to maybe spend a little bit more cash so that the Chiefs can manipulate the cap in order to add more talent. Because the last couple of years, guys, and I've tried explaining this before, and maybe I'll make another video later this offseason going in depth on how exactly the cap works and how owner spending can affect the cap. Because if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, actually, their owner, Jeffrey Lurie, spends a lot of cash on a year-to-year basis to allow the Eagles to add the most possible talent, to sign free agents, to make trades, even though they're already up against the cap. And that's something that Clark Hunt, owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, has not done as much over the past few years and has kind of actually used Patrick Mahomes as an excuse to contend on a budget. Because we've seen, in the past several Super Bowls, the Chiefs have never really been the more talented team, but they've had the best player in every game, the best couple of players, if you were to make a list, in every game. But these other rosters are just better than Kansas City's. But I think the Chiefs do have the ability to get up to par talent-wise with these other teams if Clark Hunt is to spend more cash this offseason. We'll see what happens, but for now, it's good to see that the cap is rising and the Chiefs have more room to play with, and I think they're going to make some big moves this free agency. So that's what this video was going to be about, guys, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Chiefs get some good news ahead of NFL free agency. I'm going to be pumping out content over the next couple of weeks, talking about free agent profiles, talking, Super Bowl aftermath with Michael Darcy, what the Chiefs need to do this offseason, all kinds of stuff. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss that stuff. Turn on that notification bell. You can check out my work on showmefootball.com, arrowheadaddict.com, and last but not least, follow me on Twitter at showmefb. That's all I got for this one, guys. I will see you all in the next one. But as always, go Chiefs.